Welcome back from On Top of the Wall. My name is Mason Up, your favorite Mason. Don't you forget it. Last week I promised you Changeling Tribal, and I am going to deliver Changeling Tribal. I dug deep this week, and I dug into like every mention of a creature type in Magic the Gathering that is in Pauper. So I searched through about 234 tribes, different like mentions of each creature type. It involved looking through about over like several hundred cards. I ended up going through every mention. I looked at all these different combinations, and there's still more combinations of like this Changeling tribal deck that I worked on and made from last week this point forward. It is absurd how many different combinations. This is just the one that I decided on, that I decided had like the best payoff in this particular play style, and what I settled on this time for this week. We will revisit this later in maybe Tumblr. I guess maybe Tumblr. I'm not sure. There's too many combinations for each tribe and different payoffs and combinations of tribes that we can make together with these changelings. This Changeling tribal deck is primarily based on playing changelings to get the payoff for having that specific creature type that is mentioned on it in multiple instances, and being able to use something like vampire payoffs plus elf payoff in the same deck and not have them clash. And let's get right into the deck, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Let's start with all 5 of our changelings. We have Abzan Changeling, we have Ghostly Changeling, Moonglove Changeling, Skeletal Changeling, and Woodland Changeling. A 2 of, another 2 of, a 3 of, a 1 of, and a 4 of. The reason for the 2 Abzan Changelings is because we needed a 2/2 flyer, and the evasion does help. You'll see later in the deck with some of our pump spells that having this evasive creature sometimes does have a good payoff for it, and continuously being able to get in damage and having answer for flying creatures, not just like endlessly being poked by fairies, is kind of nice. Then the Ghostly Changing is if we have extra mana, we are flooding out. We do have some ramp in this deck, so having a Ghostly Changing to be a mana sink is very beneficial to us. While the 3 of for the Moonglove Changeling, the Death Touch, combined with some of our pump spells that do make it very large, and having the whole just like kind of a threaten effect with its Death Touch that can be activated for 1 black. It's easy to threaten with and easy to hold up mana, and the more threaten effects that we have, while the more instant speed cards that we have, make them better and can play off of each other. While Skeletal Changeling, if we need a chump blocker that can endlessly chump a Gurmag Angler. And then we have the final 4 of Woodland Changing. It's just a 2/2 for 2, but because it has all the creature types, it does actually hold its own and pull its weight. It's just a solid card to have in between, and it's one of the cheaper changelings that I wanted to play, and fits into our colors, so that's why it's there. And built around all of these changeling, and the reason for some of these numbers actually, like the 1 of Skeletal Changing, is because we have 4 Blight Speaker and 3 Wirewood Savages. These creatures together give us a lot of card advantage. These are some of our payoffs for the changelings to begin with, and Blight Speaker, even though that it doesn't necessarily draw us a card, we are able to, once per turn, for more mana than the spell usually costs, able to pull a creature out of our deck and put it on the battlefield. It's as though we can cast a card from our deck instead of our hand, and it's very unique in this toolboxy manner where we can have a threaten effect from Moonglove Changing, or if we're flooding out and we need to try to push to end the game when our hand size is shorter, Ghostly Changeling, and we also can have a Skeletal Changeling for chumping an endless Gurmag Angler or big something crazy, whatever. And the Wirewood Savage, that cannot be tutored by the Blight Speaker, but it does draw us a card for every single creature that we play, aside from the Blight Speakers and the Wirewood Savages. And the Blight Speaker does almost increase our changeling count. It may seem like we have a low changeling count, but the 4 of Blight Speaker, since they can tutor 4 rebels, which includes all of the changelings. We basically have this card that continuously finds us changelings and counts as a changeling itself after we first activate it. And with all these creatures on the battlefield, I felt like one of the best things that we could do is to play an overrun. Strength of Knight and Rush of Battle. These cards are the closest thing to overruns that we have, and they have payoffs for the creature types. And some of the best overruns effects that I've seen at common. Strength of Knight is 2, a green, and creatures that we control get +1/+1. If it was kicked for the 1 black, zombies get an additional +2/+2. So all of our changelings get +3/+3 for being zombies technically. So it is the better part of an overrun. It does not necessarily give us trample and the evasion, but thanks to our Avon changelings, we do get the ability to just like go around, while the Rush of Battle is this amazing catch-up mechanic and can catch us up to some of the fastest decks in the format by giving all of our creatures +2/+1, and warriors get lifelink. So all of our creatures get +2/+1 and lifelink. They're able to just swing in for a massive amount of damage, have this huge life point swing of sometimes the biggest that I've experienced is like 16 life point swing. Now for some of the other value payoffs and some of the other good cards in the deck, the things that help support us and synergize really well with us, I want to start with the 2 Morsel Theft in the deck and the 1 Vampire's Zeal. The Vampire's Zeal, just a 1/of, and gives target creature +2/+2. If it's a vampire, it gets first strike. It's a very good combat trick, and it always catches people off surprise when you have the 1 white mana. It almost has like this 4 spike kind of esque thing where if they don't know about days, they don't play around it. So you can very easily catch them off guard, and then in game 2, if they haven't seen it yet, if they've seen it and they know about it, they'll play around it for a while, so we can just swap it out. I like having 1/of combat tricks because nobody expects them, and they're very undervalued. While the whole Morsel Theft, since all of our creatures count as rogues, if any of them deal damage to an opponent, keep in mind we have the Avon changelings that have flying and some of the threatening changelings with death touch. This actually does a very good job of being cast reliably for Prowl. And Prowl reduces this card's cost down to 1 and a black, and it makes our opponent lose 3 life, we gain 3 life for just 2 mana, and we draw a card. It is essentially a yes, that card. Thank you, me editing this in post, and draws us a card. Then for our 2 removal cards, both these are also very good for us. 4 Nameless Inversions. Target creature gets +3/-3, and it's a changeling card, so there is a payoff for having changelings and stuff. This will affect other cards in the game and give us a little bit of synergy with that. While Weight of Consciousness says it's 1 and a white aura, and when it enchants a creature, the enchanted creature can't attack. And you can tap 2 creatures that share a creature type. Surprise, almost all of our creatures share a creature type. You can exile the enchanted creature. And then we got the 1 Ghoul Caller's Chant. The Ghoul Caller's Chant is there to really just like be a strong value card, very late game-esque thing, and some of our games do go on a little bit longer, and just a clean 2 for 1 mana. Very good. I enjoy playing this card. I feel like it does a lot more work than people give it credit for in a lot of zombie decks. Now for our mana base, we have 4 Rush for Tomorrow and 4 Utopia Sprawls. They're both 1 mana ramp spells. If we have green mana, which we have a lot in our mana base, as you'll see in a second, these cards can easily push us up to 3 mana and 4 mana very quickly, and ensure that we're on 4 mana by turn 3, as well as fixing us. Now for the land package that we have in the deck, 10 Forest to help support the Utopia Sprawl and the Search for Tomorrows on turn 1. 2 Plains, because we do need the access to extra white mana for some of our sideboard cards that require double white. The 1 black, because we do need black in this deck, we are Abzan. and it is tutorable with the searches for tomorrow. Then we got one Selesnya Sanctuary. I almost said Selesnya Sanctuary. Not at all, right? Galgori Rot Farm. And we have one Bajuka Bog. This bounce package of lands is something that I like to see in some other decks that have this, where you're able to have this onboard Graveyard Hate that's repeatable. And also in the later game, when we return a land to our hand, we're making our land drops and we are ensuring that we are playing on curve and hitting all of our land drops. And then 3 Jungle Hollow to round us out and help us stabilize. Obligatory Neil Spellbomb Graveyard Hate, just one extra little piece of Graveyard Hate in case we needed it against a control deck like Tron, or blue-black control is becoming more powerful. And even against Delver, because Delver, blue-red Delver, actually does play Swirling Sandstorm, which is a board wipe for most of our creatures except for the Avon Changeling. So bombing the graveyard and making sure that they can't hit threshold is sometimes a little anti against them. And it does cycle, so we're not exactly losing a card here. Then for some of the faster decks, we have 2 Moments of Peace. Just repeatable fog, good for us, so that way we can get to the point where we're outclassing them and then striking them back. And 1 Crown of Faith. The Crown of Faith gives the enchanted creature protection from black and red. It's very strong against goblins and very strong against mono black and certain black decks when you can't actually deal with creatures on board unless you have black or a red spell. In many decks they rely on Lightning Bolt and Doomblade, and when they don't have it and they don't have that Chainer's Edict effect, we can very much punish them for it, and the creature becomes evasive and almost becomes this permanent clock that our opponent has to race against. 2 Bonds of Faith, just additional removal that has a good payoff for some of our Changeling. It gives the enchanted creature +2/+2 if it's human, or it can't attack or block if it's not human. So for pretty much all of our creatures except the Wirewood Savage, we can give them +2/+2. And I felt like this is a very strong card to just have this flexibility of when we need an extra card to help us push back against certain creature decks that might be able to consistently outclass ours, but at the same time, we need something to, when it is beneficial to us, to slow them down or to help finish us off. The Bonds of Faith was there, and I enjoyed having that. Then we got 2 Thief of Hope. This card does a ton of work. It's just 2 in a black, has, whenever you cast a Spirit or Arcane spell, your opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Just a 2/2, but that actually can, over a long period of time, just obviously just end up getting in for 3 life and be a body for us. So we're able to just like get 3 life, gain 3 life, and it's just sort of whittle back against our opponent. And has Soul Shift too. So even when they kill it, we can end up in a late over a long period of time, which is what this card is great against. We can just get back one of our Changelings, like a Skeletal Changeling or Woodland Changeling, put it back in our hand, and be able to replay it and continue this maybe a grindier, more attrition-y game. Then we have Raven's Crime. Just 1 black mana, target player discards a card, and it has Retrace. You can pay its cost and discard a land card to make target player discard a card again, and it casts from the graveyard. So when we end up flooding out, or we having a longer game, and obviously over a longer game you will see more and more land, and we are drawing a lot of cards. Some of them are land cards that may get stuck in our hand, and we might want to prepare for that longer game with a Raven's Crime and turn some of our flooding out into card advantage and 1-for-1s against an opponent that might want to be really desperately holding up a removal spell like a counter spell or a Doomblade. We can force it out of their hands. We have the 1 Infernal Caretaker in the sideboard. The Infernal Caretaker is obviously never meant to be cast by itself. It's always meant to be morphed, and then when you flip it face up, you return all of the creature cards in graveyards that are zombies to their owner's hands. But usually, we're the only ones with zombies, and most of our creatures are zombies, so we end up flipping this face up, and we can end up drawing like I've personally drawn as many as 6 Changeling cards from my graveyard and put them back into my hand. Then we got a Leave No Trace to help fight against Boggles and Enchantressy decks. Just a good way to hose enchantment decks. Like there was the Delver Mill deck for a while that I haven't seen in a minute come around. I'm sure it's still floating around out there. Somebody's just like, oh, I'm gonna get him with Mill. We can help get rid of the Jace's Erasures if we think that they're going to keep them in the main after sideboarding. And the 2 Standard Bearers, also to help fight against Boggles and enchantments. Any kind of enchantment-based removal has to end up targeting the Standard Bearer, or any Rancors or Elephant Guides has to hit our Standard Bearer. It turns those cards in their hand effectively into useless cards, and can help absorb some of our removal. So when they bring an extra removal for Wirewood Savage, or prepare to pick off a Blight Speaker with like a great Gut Shot or something, the last 2 cards in the sideboard, 2 Dust to Dust, 1 double white, and exile 2 target artifacts. So we can end up playing this, bringing this in against Affinity. We get this and we can just go hit Mirror Enforcer, hit Frogmite, or if it's early enough, we can end up hitting just 2 of their lands, double Sinkhole. Oof. Yeah, I'm sorry this one ended up coming out late this week, guys, but I hope you enjoyed it. There's more Changeling Tribal on the way. As soon as I figure out another good combination. This one was obviously more built around the idea of Strength of Night. And if you check on the tappedout.net, if you're really interested in Changeling Tribal, playing it, if you follow me on tappedout.net, you can look at all of these decks. And in some of these deck lists, there's these huge, massive maybe columns full of literally everything that I thought might be a good idea to build around as far as tribal synergies go. There's all kinds of cards down there. There's, as I always mention on tappedout.net, in the comments below, like, and the primers for the decks and descriptions. I can't test every single card and every combination of cards. Magic is this huge game right now. As far as right now, there's like 17,000 cards in the game, and to have a revolving knowledge of the combinations and the ways to play every single card in the game, and how it interacts and what is the best play and the best line is nearly impossible. So the chances of me actually knowing the best possible way to play something is very small. Like, some of the best players in the world will just completely miss lines of play that could have won them a game. And there's, it's not infinite possibilities, but it is right up there, and it's an incredible game, obviously. But if you find something, please let me know in the comments below. Message me, let me know if there's something awesome that you found as a build around that you think really deserves to be put into its own Changeling Tribal deck. Let me know, and if you want me to stream or end up playing something or build something to really break open a format, let me know. Hit me up in the comments below. Show me on Twitter your build around. Thanks for watching, everybody. Come on in for that face touch.